Thank you. This regular meeting of the Trenton Parks and Recreation Board on December 9th, 2025 is called to order at 6:00 p.m. Will you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Hale.
Here.
Ms. Butts.
Here.
Mr. Croucher.
Here.
Ms. Lucas.
Here.
Mr. Prophet.
Here.
Ms. Hatter.
Here.
Mr. Mello.
Here.
I'm looking for a motion to excuse Mr. Hill and Ms. Osuna.
So moved.
Second. Motion made by Ms. Butts and seconded by Ms. Lucas. Roll call, please.
Ms. Butts.
Yay.
Ms. Lucas.
Yay.
Ms. Hale.
Yay.
Mr. Croucher.
Nay.
Mr. Prophet.
Nay.
Ms. Hatter.
Yay.
Mr. Mello.
Yay.
Okay. I'd like to recognize the alternates in attendance this evening, Mr. Prophet and Ms. Hatter. Mr. Nichols, I don't see him here this evening. So thank you for attending, and thank you to everyone else in the audience who's with us this evening. Next, we have an approval of minutes. I'll need a motion to approve or amend the minutes of the November 18th, 2025 regular Parks and Recreation Board meeting as submitted.
I'll approve. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Mello.
Yay.
Mr. Croucher.
Yay.
Ms. Hale.
Yay.
Ms. Butts.
Yay.
Ms. Lucas.
Yay.
Mr. Prophet.
Yay.
Ms. Hatter.
Yay.
Thank you. Next on our agenda this evening is presentations. If there is anyone from the audience who would like to address the Parks Board, if you would step up to the podium and state your name and address. We have several people in the audience this evening, so again, thank you for attending. Okay. All right, seeing that we have no takers, we will move to unfinished business. The first item on our agenda this evening for under unfinished business is an update regarding the Veterans Memorial.
So at the last meeting, everyone had received Q3 from Middletown Community Foundation's fundraising statement. There was a question as to, it had a part that said administrative fee, and so I did get the answer. This was a fee that was set up when Middletown Community Foundation and the City of Trenton set up the account. So each donation received by Middletown Community Foundation has a 3% fee attached to it. So if there was a donation of $5, 3% of that would be 15 cents. So the donation in total would be $4.85. Another note I would like to add is that the administrative fee will change each quarter as it will continue to rise as the donations come in. And that's the update I have.
Okay, so that is a 3% quarterly fee based on the total amount in the account, or a one-time 3% fee assessed as the donations are received?
The way I understood it was each donation has a 3% fee.
Okay, thank you for getting that clarification for us. Are there any other updates regarding the Veterans Memorial? Anyone?
I know that there has been some discussion about location, but I don't think anything has been decided as of yet.
Okay. I know too that in total we have distributed 1,000 of the coasters that have the QR code and the website on those. So thank you to everyone for helping us get those distributed. I know after the last meeting we took some down to Casey's, and Mr. Croucher was also able to distribute a large number for us as well, which diminish the supply that we had had. So that was the second order that we had placed. And again, thank you to everyone in the community, to the businesses that are helping us get those out. So not sure how we gauge whether we attracted any donors from that tool or not, but I'm glad that we were able to get that out there.
To let you know, Ms. Hale, when I was at Neighbors and I gave them to Neighbors, there was a gentleman sitting there at the bar, and he had a nice frosty mug of beer right in front of him, and the lady slid that underneath him, and he picked it up and looked at it, and he grabbed his phone, and he shot the QR code, and he made a donation right there.
That's great to hear.
So if you're wondering if it worked, I would say yes, it did.
Wonderful. Good. Well, thank you for that update as well. Okay. Again, under unfinished business, our second item is a discussion regarding this static display program.
Okay. So each member has a 40-page book here with different military equipment. I'm going to read an email from Marcos so I don't misconstrue anything here. The U.S. Army Static Display Program has changed the rules and how they operate. No longer are organizations placed on a list and presented with opportunities to accept the displays. Now they will send out an available equipment list, this, and any organizations may submit a letter of interest. Please note that all restoration, transportation, demilitarization costs will be the responsibility of the receiving organization. There is no way to know this cost until we find out if we were accepted from the piece of military equipment. This opportunity will be open until January 8th, after which submissions will be reviewed. Due to a high volume of requests, please allow up to 90 days for a response. Marcos did add that he would like to know what equipment, or if you guys could pick a piece of equipment so he could submit a letter of interest. He's unsure if he could submit multiple letters, but he will inquire. However, if he cannot find out prior to the meeting tonight, which I'm assuming he did not, he wants a top 5 list. So if you guys could look through this booklet and choose your top 5. Something I would like to note as I was looking through here, some of the equipment would need a lot of rehab to it. So perhaps maybe look more at the equipment that wouldn't need much. So like some of these tanks, you know, they're missing the, oh, I forget what it's called, like the track. Some of them are missing tires. They all would probably need a coat of paint. And then of course the cost of transporting it. So a tank might cost more than something smaller to transport.
I think it would also be important to look at the location.
Yes.
Ms. Moore, we're not expected to make a decision on this tonight, correct?
Well, the deadline is January 9th.
He would like us to pick 5, right?
Yes. So he recommended that the board picks, or I'm sorry, January 8th is when this opportunity will close.
I thought this wasn't possible.
And I'm sorry, you said that it can take up to 90 days for them to respond.
Yes.
I would assume that a new rotation then would begin of available equipment.
I would assume, yes.
But
These would probably be spoken for.
We're not really sure what that cycle of availability might be. I heard a comment here that, with the uncertainty of where we're at on construction of the memorial and, what would be an appropriate size and what might or might not fit in, and given the fact that we are responsible for a good number of these costs, speaking just for myself personally, we are striving right now to raise enough funds to get the memorial in place. So I just don't know if, again, speaking for myself personally, and I would like everyone else to chime in with their opinions, but I think that this may be putting the cart before the horse, so to speak.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Please, go ahead.
I agree.
Let's go ahead, and if everyone would have some input, we'll start with Ms. Botts, please.
I agree completely. I have not been in favor of this from day one. Of course, whatever was decided, I would support wholeheartedly, but we went through a lot of work to design the memorial in such a way that it didn't favor one branch over another, and it's just, I don't know, it says everything that we feel like it needs to say all in that space. And I feel like, even just looking at these pictures, that I don't think this would be an added positive to the memorial itself. Now, that being said, I'm just one vote of 7 plus the council, and I will move forward with picking some if that's what we decide to do. But I do agree with you with the additional costs that are going to come from this when we don't even have the money to build the memorial yet. I think, again, cart before the horse. Just my opinion.
Well, Mike, I got a question. Like Paula pointed out that there's going to be new equipment possibly come up next year. So what are we looking at? Last year's leftovers that other people's already picked from? Just a question. That's why I was kind of shocked. Do we have to pick tonight? So this is not available anytime going into January or February for us?
I don't have the answer to that question.
Yeah, there are some nice looking pieces in here.
There is.
But making a decision with not all the answers, we don't know the cost of transportation, we don't know, the cost of getting it up to speed, but.
Well, I feel anytime you rush
Well,
a
this is a
decision,
rush.
it's going to end up
Right.
being
that's a distance.
a mistake. Even
Oh,
though I
it's
think it's an
gorgeous.
amazing
I'm
idea
not
and I'm
disagreeing,
excited
but
by
I'm
it, but
just saying,
I think
you're
the
talking-
rushing on it is what concerns me the most.
Ms. Lucas, any
I mean,
comments?
that's much better looking than
I love the idea.
the Jeep.
I just wish we had more answers, especially like if we picked a tank, how much? We don't, I agree with everybody else, we don't have the funding for the memorial right now. And if we somehow, they say, oh, well, we're going to use this funding, if they take the funding from the memorial to do this, then we're back at square one.
Well, hang on a second. I'd like to make a comment. Talking to Mark Messerschmidt and others with the Butler County VA that has helped do other veterans memorials, they did not wait until they had every bit of the money to start their veterans memorial. They did it in phases and sections as the money came in. Again, like Marcy said, we don't really have all the answers to the questions. How much is this going to cost to come from Fort Hood, Texas, which you're probably paying an oversized load to come from Texas too. I mean, an Abrams tank is not small. So a couple questions would be nice to have answered. I mean, I know everybody sitting up here wants the Veterans Memorial to move forward. And right now, funds seem to be the biggest problem that we're coming up with, is raising the funds. The design is absolutely gorgeous. Nobody's knocking the design in any way, shape, or form. If we could add a piece of decommissioned equipment as a phase off to the side to orchestrate it in and not take away from the design, I'm totally for that. But again, some questions need to be answered on what is the additional cost it's going to cost to get that stuff from Fort Hood, Texas, or where from ever it comes from, Alabama or Georgia. You know, what's the cost going to be, and actually, is it going to blend in with the design?
And again, that'll depend on the location that we decide on. You know what I mean? What piece would go with the new city building versus what piece would work in the park. I think, to your point, rushing this, it will do no good for anyone or anything.
Well, I talked to a couple of guys from maintenance and Brad, they all said it'd be cheaper to put it out there because it's all level. They'll have to cut the hillside out and everything like that, so.
Right.
Saving cost is a big thing. The public's eye is the big thing that we all talked about. We wanted to make sure that the public was going to be able to see it, observe it, enjoy it. That is up to public opinion. Talking to Mayor Perry, I believe they're going to put that out and have the public input on where it's going to go.
Yeah. Because it's like everything else, it's gonna have damage because everything you ever put out, they're gonna damage some kids' heart. I don't care where they put it at.
Anybody have
That's gotta
a,
wait.
not my place. Anybody have a different opinion than what we've already discussed?
Is there a way we could do a little research to just get a general ballpark on what the prices would be for when we're able to make this decision?
I can ask Marcos, but the way that I understand, every equipment will be different because it will need restored. Some of them will need demilitarized, and then again, the transportation. And I don't know that you would know or be able to find out that answer unless we were accepted, and they would probably begin that process then.
So my thought is, this isn't the only time ever that this is a possibility. I think it comes up year after year after year, and our deadline right now is January 8th. I don't feel comfortable making a decision about this by January 8th. So my proposal or whatever would be to table this until next year, the year after, once we know if we're getting the memorial, when we're getting the memorial, where it's going to be, and then,
We had more
Yeah.
defined answers.
yes.
It just gives, we're not making a rush decision.
I mean, I love this idea. I just,
Yeah.
I'm torn by cost, location. That.
So do we have to
Yeah.
make a motion? I'd like to make a motion that we table this to another year.
Another date.
I second it.
Okay. Motion was made by Ms. Butts and seconded by Ms. Hatter that the subject be tabled.
Ms. Butts,
Yay.
Ms. Hatter,
Yay.
Ms. Hale,
Yay.
Mr. Croucher,
Yay.
Ms. Lucas,
Yay.
Mr. Prophet,
Yay.
Mr. Mello.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now let me get back on the right page.
I was right there with you.
Next, under unfinished business, is the discussion regarding the suicide prevention signs at Home Avenue Park and Community Park.
As far as the signs, I am still waiting to receive the artwork back. However, Mr. Baker did ask if the board could decide as to the locations for the signs. So I believe at the last meeting, it was determined that 2 signs per park would be substantial. As we don't have the signs yet, but if you would like to decide where they would be placed when we do have them.
Open to the board for discussion. Any ideas
I do have a question. Do we know, because we have talked about Home Avenue Park to like start there, do we know when we start things over there, are those signs, are they concreted in, do we know, or are they like the stick yard signs?
Or T-poles, are they going to be on like the poles, like the stop signs and the curve signs and do not enter signs?
So Mr. Baker addressed that. If you look at the second page of the meeting minutes, Mr. Baker stated that the post would be 4 by 4 and the sign panels would most likely measure 14 by 24 inches. He did state, Mr. Baker responded that removing and reinstalling the signs would be simple and would not cause any issue.
Okay.
Those can be relocated if needed.
Just thinking with
Absolutely.
things coming.
So if we're thinking about the Home Avenue Park, we don't even really know what that's going to look like, or do we know what that's going to look like to make a decision where 2 signs are going to be?
No.
No, not really.
I mean,
I think that knowing what we know today, knowing the layout of both of our parks, and knowing that we have the opportunity to place 2 signs, knowing that they can be moved at a later date, if the direction is just a recommendation for a location at both parks, I think that's what I'm envisioning, just going with the layout that currently exists, because it could be some time before we see any changes to Home Avenue Park at this point. And if these signs can benefit anyone in the interim,
Right.
I think the sooner that they are installed, then the better off our community would be.
so, go ahead. I'm just talky today.
It's okay, that's what we need to do.
Community park, let's talk that, not Home Avenue right now at this moment. Wouldn't it make sense to put them by the restrooms?
Yes.
Doesn't everybody go to the
Yes.
restroom when they're down there sooner or later? I mean, they go get a drink at the water fountain. We're going to put dog water fountains for the dogs to be able to get something to drink when they're down there walking around the track. So, I mean, people will stop, and just like the guy with the frosty mug of beer, he looked at that little thing and then immediately grabbed his phone. He was a veteran, and he donated. So if somebody would see that while they're there in line to maybe get a drink or in line to use the restroom, it possibly could benefit them.
I agree. Are you thinking 1 on each side, and then that's the 2? Or is there any place else in the park that would?
Well, Home Avenue doesn't have the
Are we doing-
bathroom facility like Community
Right,
Park
we're doing
does.
2 per park.
2 per
correct?
park.
Right.
So you're thinking
2
each
in
side
each.
of the restroom? Or is there another place in the park that we would?
I was kind of thinking, because that's one of my favorite parks to walk around. So a lot of teenagers like to go back to the trestle in a certain area back there.
What?
I know. Shocking that I know this. I know. But, so as you're going and before you get to that area where the kids generally head back that way, what if we put one like right in that area?
Isn't there a bench there?
There is, so maybe.
A couple benches around the.
Like
Yeah.
possibly right there by that bench, like right before the entrance.
One could be there, one could be by the bathrooms.
Yeah.
And separate it that way.
I like that.
I agree.
And then I was actually at the Christmas lights at Smith Park, and they've got one up. And they have it by a crosswalk. So when you're thinking about Home Avenue, I know we don't really know what we're doing there just yet, but for the time being, just having one right there at one of the crosswalks.
Right there at the baseball entry.
Yeah, that would be at
And
least
then
a
over by the
start.
playground.
Or by the concession stand.
You can always move it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, we can.
Right, yeah, they can be moved, obviously. I think that's a good idea. And maybe with Home Avenue Park, maybe just over on the other side of the park, on the other side of the shelter,
Yeah,
that might be another good location.
yeah.
Right between the playground and the picnic table. There's a couple trees right there.
Really, I trust Public Works to decide the best place to put the signs.
So how about we threw out some ideas?
Yeah, and we're
Can you
letting.
clarify Home Avenue Park for me?
I think they're talking about where the near the crosswalk
There's the
between the fields
and
on the left and right sides.
there's like a
Quasi crosswalk.
It's like between 2 and 5, isn't it?
yeah, and then the other one could be up by like the playground and shelter. That's kind of far back a little bit because the shelter's where all the teens like to hang out over there.
And I'm thinking if people are walking into Home Avenue Park from the other side of the park, it's visible from there as well.
Thank you.
Did we make you cry?
Did we make you cry, Kelsey?
We're sorry. Are we being difficult tonight?
I thought those were tears of joy. I
She's
thought
like,
those were
they
tears
did
of
something,
joy.
yes.
She's over there.
Right.
She got all choked up.
Sorry, we made you cry tonight.
Dang.
Yay.
She did.
Okay.
Start shaking her mom. She's gonna be.
She's like, man.
You know, again, this is an item for discussion. I don't know that there's a need for a motion. It's already been recommended by this board that we proceed with the 2 signs, and there are some ideas, and unless anyone has anything else to add, are we
I'm
ready?
in total agreement with you. I think Mr. Baker and the city staff would go off the recommendations and put it in the best place, visible place.
Careful what you ask for. Are we ready to move on then? Okay.
I have that down, so I will make sure that I pass that on to
Okay.
Brad.
Is the board ready to move on? Okay. Item number 4 under unfinished business this evening is an update regarding the Parks and Recreation rules and regulations, a rules and regulation overview. So I thank you for providing this. Do you have something you'd like to share?
Yes, ma'am. So I did provide the board with three handouts here. Now, the first one I would like everyone to look at is the ordinance. So per our last meeting, a motion was made to allow one regular council member, one member as a regular member. You know what I'm trying to say.
One member of
Thank
council
you.
to be appointed.
Yes, we know what we decided. Yes, so this is an updated version. So staff has worked on the ordinance draft to reflect the motion recommended. This is adding section 276.01 and amending chapter 276. So we will need a motion to recommend this to City Council to amend chapter 276 of the codified ordinances.
Sorry, I was just double checking.
Yeah, I'm reviewing it again as well, and
It looks like exactly what we discussed last meeting.
Yeah.
So I would make a motion to recommend this as written to council.
has everyone else had an opportunity to read it, or just speak up when you're ready to discuss it?
I'm for it. I'm good. Looks just like what we discussed.
Any other?
There's a motion on the
Questions or
floor. Is there a
comments?
second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. Motion was made by Ms. Butts, seconded by Mr. Mello, that we recommend that council revise this ordinance as has been presented to us. Roll call.
Ms. Butts?
Yay.
Mr. Mello?
Yay.
Ms. Hale?
Yay.
Mr. Croucher?
Yay.
Ms. Lucas?
Yay.
Mr. Prophet?
Yay.
Mr. Hatter? Or Ms. Hatter? I'm sorry.
Wow.
They, them.
That's okay. I've been called Mr. Hale.
But yay.
A lot of names. Well, thank you guys for that. I will talk a bit more.
Ms. Moore, if you
Yeah.
may, 276.02, proposal. The proposal of the Parks Board Recreation Board is to act as an advisory board to the Recreation Division. Who is that?
That's in the current ordinance.
Yes, this is a current ordinance.
Yeah,
But
who's
what's
the
read-
recreation?
Well, who is that? Does it even exist?
Council? Mhm.
Stas is looking it up.
That's what I was thinking.
But it does say act as an advisory board in the Recreation Division. So we are the advisory board in the Recreation Division. And
Yeah,
With
rather
regard
than
to
to
recreation.
the rec,
yeah,
yeah, it doesn't say to the Recreation Division.
Is to act as an advisory board in the Recreation Division with regard, yes, you're absolutely
yeah.
correct.
So our advisory board here, or our Parks and Recreation Board is an advisory board within the Recreation Division, and we make recommendations to the
To council.
council.
And then it goes to council, okay. Just
You're welcome,
clarifying,
Stas.
thank you.
I seen him kind of shaking over there. He was,
Correct us if we're wrong.
Thank you.
The nail on the head on that.
Great.
thank you, Marcy.
Okay.
I do have some more for the
Yes.
overview.
Okay.
So I thought, since we have 7 new members joining us, that it would be a good time to go over the rules and regulation of the Parks Board. So I will make this quick. If there's any questions, please just let me know. So I do want to say I'm Kelsey Moore. I'm the event coordinator for the city. I'm also the Parks Board secretary. So I talk a lot during these, so sorry. But I do report to City Manager Marcus Nichols, who I report to. At the next City Council meeting, which is Thursday, December 18th, City Council will appoint the liaison between Parks Board and City Council. The appointed will be the one City Council regular member to sit on the Parks and Recreation Board. The rest would be alternates then. Please note that only City Council alternates can sit for the City Council regular member, which we all know that, and that is that ordinance that we just made a motion on, per the newly adopted rule. At the first meeting in January, the board will choose their chair and vice chair. So I will make sure to put that on the agenda. We will have that discussion. That's my little tidbit, but I would like for everyone to look at the Parks Board area of responsibility. So, Parks Board is an advisory committee to City Council and City Manager Marcos Nichols. One thing that I would like to just touch on for a second here is sometimes we make recommendations to City Council and they don't need to go to City Council. So the board can make a recommendation to City Manager Marcos Nichols, or the board can make a recommendation to City Council. So examples of this would be the board making a recommendation to City Council for proposed new park equipment. A recommendation to City Council proposing the splash pad equipment, splash pad design, things of that nature. Something that would be a recommendation to City Manager Marcos Nichols would be the band that we would like to choose for our concerts, the movies that we would like to choose. Anything, most things event related are to City Manager Marcos Nichols. That is who I report to. That is who I take these to and we discuss. Sometimes we're recommending things to City Council that don't need to be, so I just wanted to touch on that. And if we ever have a question before we make a motion, just ask. Let's just be out and open and ask. Yes, sir?
Doesn't the city manager have a certain amount of money he's allowed to spend before it comes to council?
Yes.
So therefore, he would not need to bring it to council. He could go ahead and prove it himself, correct?
Yes, and
It's $30,000.
30,000? Okay. Yes, so there's that aspect as well.
At this time.
So is there any questions regarding that? Just making recommendations, anything? Okay, so moving on. The board up here, they have the new, so I didn't give everyone this new ordinance in red here for them to follow along. but they just made a motion to adopt this new rule that we had discussed at the last meeting, which is not reflected on this sheet that I gave everyone, all of our alternates and members out in the audience here. However, that is a new change to these rules. So we know that first one. So 276.02 purpose. The purpose of the Parks and Recreation Board is to act as an advisory board in the Recreation and Parks Division with regard to recreational programs and facilities. We just found out what that meant. Thank you, everyone. So 276.03, which is the duties. I'm just going to read this first sentence here. The Parks and Recreation Board shall act in an advisory capacity to council and the city manager in matters pertaining to public recreation in the acquisition, development, improvement, and management of parks, park strip, and other city property. And then the last sentence, I will read that too. It shall perform such other duties relative to parks and recreational programs and activities as may from time to time be delegated to by council. So council delegates Parks Board different projects for them to discuss, and they make a recommendation that then goes to city council. Okay. The next one would be 276.04, advisors and technical support. City staff shall provide advice and technical support for the Parks and Recreation Board, but do not work for the board. Staff is to be treated with respect and human dignity. Any breach or abuse of this may result in dismissal by the city council. We understand that. 276.05, removal of members' attendance at meetings. I do want to touch on this a little bit because there was the last few meetings, there was nays for excusing some members. So those members' terms had ended, so it's kind of different circumstances. However, it would be handled differently if someone was in the middle of their term and they remain unexcused. So the rules here say, I'm going to jump in the middle. If the board has an unexcused member for 2 consecutive meetings, they can recommend to city council that the member be removed from the board. Just want everyone to understand that. Okay. I believe that is it for me. So I just wanted to go over those. I thought that it would be nice to do that now since we're welcoming a bunch of people, and things will start shifting because next meeting, vice chair and chair will be chosen, and then the council liaison will be appointed, and then 2 new members come up here, and then so just a big shift that will happen. So I just want everyone to be understanding and aware of all of this before we all start off with our busy season again, because it starts in April. I did give this sheet too, which this is just how the process of the meetings work, the Park and Recreation Board rules. It's the A, B, C, D, and E, which we understand. This is just how the agenda works, the flow of the agenda. Does anyone have any questions before I move on?
Okay. Thank you very much. It looks like we kind of jumped ahead with the motion, at least according to my outline. So our next item on the agenda this evening is new business. The first item is 2026 community celebration dates.
Okay. So everyone received the 2026 community celebration dates last time handout. So I do want to go through these real quick. For 2025, the Arbor Day, we did Arbor Day and Earth Day separate. What city staff and I found was that these events could be combined. It makes sense. It's the same kind of, idea. So, and it will not be at Founders Park this year. We will have it, all of it at Community Park. So it will be Arbor Day, Earth Day, and the drug take back all together for our first event of the year. At the bottom of each of these proposed dates here, it is italicized. You will see that I did contact the school to make sure this year that we are not colliding with their event dates. So, that is the first one. Spring Fest is an annually set date. It's the first Saturday of June. The change to this, last year it was 10 to 2 p.m. We would like to make it 10 to 4 p.m. There was a lot of people coming that didn't know that the event was transpiring, and they came when it was ending. So this will help a little bit. Another note I would like to make, which this has not been approved, but this is a thought of mine. Hopefully, the splash pad will be big and beautiful and finished by this time. I know typically pool splash pads, they open on Memorial Day weekend. That is 1 weekend before Spring Fest. I would like to propose, if the splash pad is finished and council and everyone else is on board, that the ribbon cutting be the same day as Spring Fest. In my mind, it makes sense. It's a kid-related activity. We will have the crowd there that we would want for a ribbon cutting, grandiose, you know. So that is my thought for that. Next up, typically our first concert of the season would be Midpoint Library's Sounds of Summer concert. Midpoint Library cannot contribute in a sponsorship capacity this year. So, of course, we are going to uphold our 3 concerts that we have begun, and I would like to propose that we have a 4th of July concert. We can try it out for this year and make sure everything goes good. Hopefully it can become an annual event. Now in this, Dr. Alan Burley brought to the board his ideas and what he would like to happen. And of course I will work with him and we will get this together. So it would be Thursday, July 2nd. I understand that that might not be an ideal date. However, all surrounding cities around us have their event on July 4th and 5th, and we would be in major competition with them, as well as we would have a hard time with vendors. We would have a hard time with our AV guy. I actually called him. He could not do that day. So all the way around, it wouldn't look good for us. It would not be a success. So that is called Let Freedom Boom, Trenton's America 250 celebration. And that would consist of a parade as well. Next up is Pickin' in the Park. This is formerly known as Sundown Jamboree. I decided to change the name because there's some feedback that I have received with the name. So Pickin' in the Park is specifically, if you ask me, it definitely gives off bluegrass vibes. I did change the week on this. I made it a week earlier just so we can keep relatively the same amount between each concert.
No.
Oh. Yes, so that would be Saturday, August 22nd from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. I did have the idea of maybe making this a back-to-school bash or kind of having some kind of tie-in with it, because it is, I think, a week after they go back to school or the week of. Next is Fall Fest. That is an annually set date. As you see, I did adjust the time on Fall Fest. I believe that starting the concerts an hour later would help us for a few reasons, but the biggest reason would be the heat. So city staff is out all morning preparing for the events. The vendors, they come pretty soon after and they start setting up as well. Our entertainers, the sun, unfortunately, as it sets, is right in their eyes. And something that I had found out with Fall Fest, our headlining band didn't want to perform when it was light out because they have a spectacular light show. And for their branding, that's what they prefer. So I did kind of adjust the time on a lot of these to end later, start an hour later, and then end about an hour, hour and a half later. Homecoming is not that week, so did make sure of that. Make a Difference Day / the 5K. This is something that I would like to propose. I know that the city used to do Make a Difference Day. That is a very, very large volunteer event that the city, it would be a pleasure to host. I know in the past for Make a Difference Day, there was all kinds of things transpiring, but it was all about helping your community for that day. So picking up leaves at elderly or disabled person's house, you know, and the way that I understand it was set up is there would be different teams, different crews that would go out. Public Works would get their big vacuum and come suck up the leaves at the end. So it was a lot of collaboration. It was a big to-do, as it should be. I think it would be really good if we brought that back, and I would like to put that with the 5K. I just think that those two would go together well. The 5K would start earlier. The volunteer portion of it would probably start maybe at noon or so. You know, and there's different, not only is it picking up leaves and such, but I know that they planted bulbs at Community Park. They went out and picked litter up at all of our parks. And so there could be just a big help. It would be very nice if we could do this.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
can we do the 5K a little bit when it's warmer, a little bit more warmer?
Well, I did make it about 2 weeks earlier.
Okay.
2.5 weeks earlier.
That's good with me.
Yes.
That's good with me.
And it will be later, so I put starting at 10 versus 8 o'clock in the morning. So that'll
That's
help
even
too.
better.
That'll help with the cold.
That's even better.
Yes, I definitely agree on that.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for that, so.
Next is the Christmas tree lighting. This is an annually set date. It's the weekend before Thanksgiving. Saturday, November 21st from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and that still would be at Founders Park. And then on the second page is our movies in the park. I did propose and ask the board that we consider not having an October movie in 2026. And I did schedule 2 large events in October, so it would not be doable to have a third event in there. These are the second Saturday of the month, beginning in June, going through September. One thing that I will mention, something I didn't think of last year, you know, as we go on, the sun will start setting earlier and earlier. Well, we should probably think about this when we choose our movies. The longest movie should go when the sun is setting the earliest. I believe our longest movie was Cougar Fest because it was Mufasa. And we did not get out of there until past midnight. So, yes, that is definitely something that when we're choosing the movies, which hopefully will be at the next meeting, something that will be taken into account as to which month it will fall in. So that is the community celebration dates. I would like to know if the board wants to discuss any of these or if everyone's okay with.
Are we still calling it Cougar Fest?
As long as the school is still.
Okay.
Yeah, that's,
No, I for one appreciate you pulling all this together. This is our jumping off point, and then we can start our meetings just working on the details.
Yes.
So.
that's on the school.
Other than starting the 5K a little bit later, Mr. Crouch, do you have any other comments?
No, I just like it to be a little warmer, and I know you're not in control of that, but it was a little chilly at the 5K.
Yes, it was.
Any other questions, comments before we entertain a motion?
Is it a motion to?
Anything else?
No, I was sorry.
Well, we would, I'll entertain a motion, if somebody would like to make a motion to recommend to City Manager Marcos Nichols the 2026 Community Celebration Date calendar dates, that have been set forth.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion be made by Ms. Lucas and seconded by Ms. Butts. Roll call, please.
Ms. Lucas,
Yay.
Ms. Butts,
Yay.
Ms. Hale,
Yay.
Mr. Croucher,
Yay.
Mr. Prophet,
Yay.
Ms. Hatter,
Yay.
Mr. Mello.
Yay.
Thank you.
Okay,
I do see that we had been provided with a copy of, I guess that's part of our next item on the agenda. So, moving right along, sorry. Another report. As Ms. Moore said, she has a lot to share. So you can tell she has a lot on her plate. She does a great job of it. So next is reports by the Board of City Administrators. First item, Ms. Moore is events and volunteer, who is our events and volunteer coordinator, talking about our 25-26 community celebration yearly budget overview.
Before I get to the budget overview, I do want to point out I have completed the event sponsorship proposal packet, and I have Marcos Nichols' blessing on that. So just a few things I want to say is I am so pleased with the pictures that we received from all of our events, and I would just love to thank Ms. Hatter and Ms. Jessica Engel for all of their hard work and dedication. We have to have pictures like this if we want to sell our events and what we're doing. This is very, very important. I had such a fun time putting this together. I did have to step away a lot and come back to it as well. I think the front page, I'm just so happy with that's how our year ended. So what a lovely picture. I did make sure to give our photographers their photo credit on each photo. So the packet does go through all of our events. It touches on Spring Fest with some pictures. It has the movies in the park with the event dates and some photos. I did include Let Freedom Boom. And I did express, which I will talk about this in this budget overview, but I expressed what their sponsorships would go towards. I did put Pickin' in the Park on here with some very nice photos. And then of course Fall Fest. And the Christmas tree lighting, which these photos were so beautiful just to look at, the families.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys look at the sponsorship opportunities, I did bump it up and I added an additional level. So the diamond sponsorship last year was at $75,000. I made a diamond sponsorship $10,000 this year. I did add two. Oh no, I must have made the wrong copy. On that platinum sponsorship, if it says exclusive with a dash, I must have printed everyone the wrong copy. I'm so sorry. But I did add basically what comes into the sponsorships. And of course, I had to recognize First Financial Bank for being our diamond sponsorship of 2025. The next page is presenting sponsorship. I did add this. This was not something that was in our last year's sponsorship packet. Maybe giving businesses, and we might not have any business that wants to do this, but if we continue to present it year after year, we continue to grow. someone might jump on this one day. Presenting sponsor would be a sponsor that would fund half of a concert that the city hosts. You know, I did put a list of kind of everything that they would get in with this. This would be a new realm that we would dive into, but it is something I wanted to offer. And again, thank you for the photos there. It's nice looking at those. And then I gave a shout out to our 2025 sponsors at the end, but that is the sponsorship packet for this year. Before I go to the budget, does anyone have a question on the sponsorship packet?
I do have a question. Do we have ones that we used last year that sponsored different for like the movies in the park? Or was that?
That was something I added for like a raffle basket.
Yeah, like those.
I did, I did not add it into the sponsorship packet. I made it its own separate form. I did not create that this year, but I most definitely can.
So with the sponsorship, is it something that you go, because I know we have a lot of places here in Trenton that can be asked, like Domino's, places like that. And I know there are also vendors, so that's a little bit different. But is this something that you go and ask, or I'm not, since it's the first time for me, I'm not really sure how the sponsorship actually works.
Yeah. So we did, when I joined the city, we had a pre-existing list of sponsors. So what I did last year, after I created this proposal, is I sent it to them, or I had a conversation with them face to face. And then most of all the sponsors that had sponsored the previous year continued that.
Okay.
And some of them even added to it a little bit. I have already been meeting with different people to discuss sponsorships for this year. So I will meet with all of our pre-existing sponsors for 2025. I will meet with them and present this. I do plan on, there's a few businesses, of course, in mind that I would love to have a sit-down meeting with, that I will attempt between this month and next month to get a meeting with them and share the proposal with them. So you can also, a lot of organizations, they just want you to submit it online. So if you go on to any of the websites and they have a donation request, usually if you click on that, it'll say please upload here and give a little bit of information about your event.
Okay.
I will say last year I did do that with UDF in town. And I have yet to talk to someone from UDF, but they did sponsor us. So that is, yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Because I was thinking about Satch's and other places that you can
That's a big
speak
increase.
to, and fingers crossed. And I didn't know if there was something that we could do to help you, because I know you've got a lot on your plate.
If maybe after the meeting, I could give everyone the list of who I plan on going to this year, and that would be these names in the back, which was our 2025 sponsors, and then a couple of the businesses in town. But I would love help. Also, businesses outside of Trenton can and have sponsored as well.
Right.
So Middletown, Hamilton, Trenton residents go to Middletown, and they go to Hamilton, and they go to these other cities and use these other businesses. So other businesses are usually, they will hear you out.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
So I have a couple of questions, looking at the budget. First, this is suggested, right? This is what you're proposing. It hasn't been approved yet. Okay. Hurry up, because I got questions.
Okay. All right, let me start on the budget. So if you guys don't mind, do let me explain this first, and then you answer or ask all the questions, please. At the beginning of last year, I had presented Parks Board with my budget for 2025 community celebrations. We had a $100,000 budget last year, so I budgeted for $100,000. Sponsorships, then, what I did was I enhanced the event with the sponsorships. So we added to them. And I'm doing the same thing as sponsorships will enhance the event. It's not the budget that the city has proposed. So if you look at the top there, community celebrations budget, this was for 2025, we have 100,000. Sponsorship total was 30,750, which gave us a grand total of $130,750. Now, if we look at this first column here that says estimated budget, Arbor Day and Earth Day came from Economic Development's budget. This was not a part of the 2025 community celebrations budget. So this is what I had budgeted each event as you go down. And the grand total estimate is listed there, $121,080. Oh, I'm sorry, the budget that I had put was with my enhancements, I'm sorry. So that is with the enhancements there. So that came down to $121,800. There were some miscellaneous items, which was the sponsorship banners, seats, barricades, chest freezer. So those came in here. So budgeted, now if you look back up top, budgeted was $127,569. Now if we jump over to the next column that says actual amount spent. And the economic development, the first two, Arbor Day and Earth Day, are not in this $140,000. It is from Movies in the Park down that is counted up. So spent was $140,895. Now, we receive income from our events, and income is vendor fees. So this is our pop-up vendors and our food trucks, but we also receive income from beer sales and pop and water.
I don't understand that.
And so if you look, Movies in the Park, there's no income. Springfest, no income. Sounds of Summer was our first income check. Now that is Midpoint Library's contribution plus the sales of the beer and alcohol plus the check back, because when we order alcohol, whatever is not bought at the event, Bond Bright will buy back. So we receive a check back for that. So that is, and Sounds of Summer did not have a vendor fee. So that is all that is. That is Middletown, or I'm sorry, that is Midpoint Library's contribution, and that is the alcohol, pop, and water sales. And then the income back from the alcohol, okay? Sundown Jamboree, that income received was vendor fees, and then the alcohol, pop, and water. Fall Fest, that was vendor fees, alcohol, pop, and water. Okay? Active and Ageless, that is a senior program that I had started. We did receive $300 in sponsorship for that. So that gives us a total of $24,410 in income. If you subtract that amount of money from our expenses, you would get $122,254 spent. So we actually stayed under budget by almost $8,000. Actually, we did stay under budget by $8,000. So, yes. And then I broke it down even more in case anyone was wondering what the event cost after the income. So I just subtracted what the total cost of the event was minus the income, and I put that by it as well. So that was our 2025 year. Now for 2026, the city had their yearly budget meetings. What I had asked for is what I had spent. So And I did actually, I will say, I did give myself a little bit more of a buffer on some of them. The movies in the park, that was, I suggested 12,000, because if you see that we actually spent almost 11,000, so I try to give a little grace there. Springfest is just, I think, about 2,000 more than we had spent, and that is to make the event from 10 to 4. That's what that number comes from. Now, if you look, there's America 250, and then there's Sounds of Summer. Midpoint Library cannot contribute. We had set aside 15,000 for this concert. Since they cannot contribute, that money would be moved for the America 250 Let Freedom Boom event. So that would total us out at 30,000 for the Let Freedom Boom, or Let Freedom Boom, yes.
That's being transferred, correct? That's not an add-on. That 30,000 for America 250.
What's your question?
You said that money would be transferred?
Well, in my budget, in my breakdown, I had set aside 15,000 for Sounds of Summer. And since Sounds of Summer is not happening this year, for me, in my notes, that 15,000 was then, I moved that to the America 250 celebration.
So it was 15,000 that we didn't have to spend last year because the Midpoint contributed it, right?
No, Midpoint, so if you look back to Sounds of Summer,
Yeah.
I had budgeted 12,000. We actually spent $18,024. They only
They only gave
contributed,
us the 80, okay.
they actually only gave us 3,500.
So you had budgeted 15 for Sounds of Summer?
Yes,
And then
because,
15 for America 250?
yes, yes. So that gives us, since Sounds of Summer is not transpiring, America 250 then would have the 30,000.
Okay, thank you.
The Sundown Jamboree is 26,000. Fall Fest is 48,000. Make a Difference Day / the 5K, 2,000. That's an event about helping your community. I didn't budget much money for that. That would just mostly be marketing material, is what that would be. The Christmas tree lighting, 15,000. The Christmas decorating contest, which is ongoing right now, is 750. Music licensing, we do have to file for 3 different music licenses to play songs. So that was $1,750. Active and ageless is $5,000, which again is that senior program. So I had went into this budget meeting and requested $175,000. With our events, we have set a standard. And to keep that standard, then we need to, the same amount of money needs to be there. With sponsorship adjustments, as you see as that final column there, I'm hopeful that we'll get 45,000 this year.
Subtract from the 175.
So this is what I would add to each event if we had 45,000 in sponsorships.
It's only that much of an increase. That's not.
And the Sundown Jamboree and Fall Fest have a potential as a co-sponsor because it is in the sponsorship packet as a presenting sponsor. So, and I did note that on there. The budget has, it goes to the next council meeting, so it has not been approved yet. So it is still tentative.
Thank you.
Yes.
After all of,
After all that.
and I know there's questions, but a couple points of clarification, just as they've kind of been a little buzz up here. To reiterate, this is just the community celebration budget request, and also some actual information from 2025. That is not the Parks Board, the Parks and Recreation budget as a whole. There's a lot of other things that come into play with that budget. And then, so if I've tracked you right, you're requesting a budget, you're requesting that council approve a budget of $175,000 for community events, and the anticipation is that we would get $45,000 in sponsorships that would offset that. So in essence, it's a $30,000 increase over your requested budget of $100,000 last year versus this year. Is that correct?
Are you asking if we receive 45,000 sponsorships that the city, that the budget would be less? Is that what you're
The
saying?
actual expenses would be less. The $45,000 in sponsorship adjustments, would that, let's say $175,000 is approved.
Yes.
We receive $45,000 in sponsorships. That offsets the cost then and brings it down to 130.
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
Because
I
if
got a
you-
question.
So your
Hang on.
adjustments are going to be enhancements?
Yes. If
Okay.
you see, so the community celebrations budget last year was 100,000.
Right.
And we received 30,750 in sponsorships, so that made our budget 130,000. So it would be on top of the 175,000 requested.
Okay. Any other questions? Do you want to start? We'll start with Mr. Mello this time, question-wise. Do you have any questions about the community celebration expenses or budget?
Sounds pretty good to me.
Okay. Ms. Hatter?
Not this time.
I don't have any questions.
I'll go, Mr. Prophet, I'm sorry. No questions? Okay. Ms. Lucas?
I know a couple other parks, they have done like a couple things to do fundraisers for their events, like as a part of their sponsorship. Like, have we thought about that?
What do you?
Like Miamisburg, they had a father-daughter dance, did a donation at the door and that money that they raised went back to the events. Where they had I know Hamilton did a police versus fire baseball game, and they raised money, and that went back into their community events.
We have not discussed that, but something I would like to add, if we did do something like that, is it would have to fit in between the event schedule, which is already very full, and then secondly, city staff would have to run that. So please don't take this the wrong way, but if we didn't raise as much money as it would cost to pay the city staff to be present at the event, what would be the gain?
I understand that. I was just thinking.
Well, that was me thinking back.
I would like to say this, and I know Rome was not built in a day, but when they do Pumpkin Fest in Hamilton, that does not come out of the city budget. When they do balloon light up Middletown, that does not come out of Middletown city budget. Their boards go out and go to the community and raise this money for these activities that are happening in these cities. They do not depend upon the taxpayers to pay for this. I'm done.
I don't have any questions. It looks reasonable to me. I noticed quite a increase proposed for the active and ageless, but I assume, knowing you, that you have lots of, it's just started out this year, right?
Yes.
So you're enhancing that, I assume.
Yes, and Active and Ageless is a monthly thing that we have here in the courtroom, and I personally don't think that any of our events cater to seniors. Most of them are
Right.
family oriented. So if the city can provide something for seniors, and that's the way that I can, as of now. When we have the new Glamorous City building and YMCA, it might be a little different. We might not have to put as much contributions into the Active and Ageless Fund because the YMCA will partner with us, and they will help a lot of events such as having a Tai Chi instructor, because they have Tai Chi instructors within.
Right.
So they would just let us borrow their Tai Chi instructor for 2 hours, and I did have that conversation with someone at the YMCA today, so there is that to look forward to.
I think that's a very good program.
Okay. Well, thank you for that report. And again, thank you for all of the hours that you've put into all of our community events. We've mentioned before, how much we appreciate the council approving the hiring of someone to take that on, because it is a very big job, and you have done a fabulous job, and the events have just grown, and your work does not go unnoticed. So thank you
Christmas
very
one, they had more
much.
people I ever seen at Christmas one this year. It was packed.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that. I have a blast. I have the funnest job here.
Looks like your kids have a very good time too.
Yeah, that's a bonus. My kids get to come and I'm like, was that fun? No? Okay.
Okay. Well, if there are no other questions or comments from the board with regard to the budget overview, I guess we'll just ask if anyone has any closing comments before we adjourn. Again, I'll start with you, Mr.
Just want to
Mello.
thank all those people that are coming, that's going to be on the board and everything. Glad they showed up. Thank you for all you do. And thank everybody up here. Everybody does. Everybody have a good Christmas.
Thank you. Ms. Hatter?
I have nothing to say.
Pardon?
Oh, I have nothing to say. My
Nope.
apologies.
Okay. Mr. Prophet?
I have no reports.
Ms. Butts? Or, I'm sorry, Ms. Lucas?
Just thank you to all those being out here, and Merry Christmas to everybody watching.
Let's check her water too.
Mr. Croucher?
Wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Thank you to everybody that showed up tonight as well. Be safe. New Year's is around the corner, so think about it before you get out and get behind the wheel on New Year's night. Be safe out there. Other than that, I have no other reports.
Now, Ms. Butts.
Of course, always thanks to Kelsey. Fantastic job. And it's very exciting to see the number of people that we had that showed interest in being on the board or being an alternate or just being involved, because we're lacking that in Trenton. So this is going to be a big start to 2026. I'm excited about it. And happy holidays.
Thank you. I echo those sentiments as far as seeing new people interested, so that is very exciting. I would like to extend my gratitude to both Mr. Hill and Ms. Asuna, who we've not had at our last few meetings, but we do appreciate the time that they have volunteered and the contributions that they made. Their terms are ending, and again, it's good to see that we have some new, fresh blood, and very excited. So those are my only comments. With that, I would make a motion that we adjourn, or I would entertain a motion that we adjourn, sorry.
So moved.
Second. Okay, she got it.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Croucher and seconded by Ms. Lucas? Yes. Roll call, please.
Mr. Croucher?
Yay.
Miss Lucas?
Yay.
Miss Hale?
Yay.
Miss Butts?
Yay.
Mr. Prophet?
Yay.
Miss Hatter?
Yay.
Mr. Mello?
Yeah.
Okay, the date of our next meeting